So it happened. It was a 3, 2, 1, and I was live on audio, and still am. I hope. Welcome everybody. This is MBTV News. Yes, formerly known as Metaworld News, possibly still known as Metaworld News, but we'll figure that out one day. Okay, the other is simple. And one of the items in the news this week, incidentally, is somebody else, other than Hello Games, which have not done it anymore. Somebody else has come up with the idea of calling everything Metaworld or Metaworld as a kind of subdivision of the Metaverse, which sort of makes sense. Going back to Mal Burns' schematic of metadata, moving upwards to meta worlds, meta galaxies, and then the metaverse, but whether that could even remotely apply to the Zuckerberg type metaverse, I don't even know. Anyway, thought I would mention that. So we're MBTV News. Anyway, my name is Mal Burns. Mal is my first name, Burns is the second name, but on the interwebs, like many people, I am frequently squashed. No, I am not a bug to be squashed. Right? Learn this, Twitter. But they've done it anyway. Right, okay, so if you want to follow me and my links, which are an integral part of this show, really, you want to go to twitter.com/MalBurns, MALBURNS. And you can also get a bit of other stuff, too, specifically about virtual worlds from twitter.com/Metaverse News. Yes, the good old...
What?
Old... No, sorry, Metaworld News.
Oh, boy. I panicked there for a minute.
Yeah, I panic. I do panic. I'm glad somebody's around to tell me.
Not the metaverse.
I'm panicking all over today. I'm flapping for about 2 hours before we came on air. You folks at home do not realise this because James has a lot of textures cached and everything for the filming. But I'm in a grey world and I'm missing an avatar, though I do have a hat and a mask. I look like the Invisible Man in a world of grey, so it is very odd indeed. So who knows where the textures are gone, such as life in the metaverse. Right, in OpenSim anyway for us today. Carrying on. Anyway, I said my name is Mal Burns. The voice you heard behind me, beside me. Well, behind me too. It's behind me in my ears because I'm facing the other screen. Okay, beside me, sorry. Another than James Atlloud. Hello, James.
Well, hello, Mal. It's good to be here on another Sunday again, seeing all the news that is news to be new.
Is it the Bangles song, isn't it? It's just another Monday.
Just another Monday.
Just another day, just another manic Sunday.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds like a fun day. No way. Right. Okay, so James, for those of you at home, is fiddling with knobs here. Basically, he's playing with the video and audio. He's bringing the pictures to you from my desktop, from my avatar here in different poses, from the screens behind me, and all over the place. So making this show something better than just talking heads, because who wants talking heads? I do. Right, this one goes to the tune of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Do you remember that? Who wants to be a millionaire? So, who wants to be a talking head? I don't. Right, I can see. We're going somewhere today. For those of you who missed it, the Hypergrid Safari folks, well, which is me and Sosa really, and the gang, came here for Safari on Wednesday, and it was a musical day. We had Shell Fresno, can I pronounce his name, playing here, and then we went on to another gig with somebody else's name I can't remember, playing in a spaceship somewhere. So both stops, an hour each, were sort of principally musical, and there was a bit of chat over it and telling people to wear the camera around to look at the place. Stuff like that. So yeah, that was musical too. So again, it's all tying together with the theme of a musical week.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, technology is far from musical at the moment, so let's get on with the actual nitty-gritty stuff. So James has the cameras and everything going, and I have the Invisible Man show going on, and we can start with some news now. if James can probably switch over to the first of a couple of pictures I've got up to start the show with.
Yep.
Not quite sure when this where this came from, but anyway, it's a sort of literally an ad saying how to access the metaverse and pointing you in various places you can go. So, good to see Second Life are making our presence is still very much known. African Life was an odd one there. Star Atlas, I don't know. I mean, the one in the middle saying Horizon Worlds is almost obvious, isn't it, really? But anyway, this is basically telling people, these are the places you can go to access the metaverse. And could do with putting OpenSim in there because that's the open source one. But in the event that you don't know OpenSim, you can go to Second Life. And that failing, you can go to VR chat. And that failing, you can go to the Rec Room. And if you're young enough, you can go to Roblox. And if you're a musician who wants to be pixelated, you can go to the Sandbox. Oh, so much fun and games. Anyway, moving on. That is just a picture. June the 2nd, which I think is part of the OR thing next week, or Augmented Reality, Augmented World Expo, happening in Santa Clara, I believe it is, next week. Our friend Yvonne Henning is part of this. It's sort of half theatre, half immersion, interactive theatre thing they're putting on, in real life at the actual event. Right. Okay. Yeah, the other picture. Wait, this is June the 2nd. I can tell you that. Anyway, right. Moving on from that one. Stop scrolling without me, you silly browser. Right. Okay, and finally, this is a sort of segue, really. Last week, the end of last week, was the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Real heavyweight stuff. And one of the panelists there you can see is our friend Philip Rosedale. Is it Bessie Johnson, I think, next to him, who's from Magic Leap? Academic next to her. And a guy, the guy at the very end there is a Brit, actually, and he's from Lego, who are working on they haven't given up their day job with the bricks, but they are working on a lot of metaverse type stuff. And I can't remember the name of the ladies, either of the ladies. The black lady in the hat is the host, and the girl in is it hijab or just a head job anyway? Yeah, she's an academic too, if I remember. Anyway, very interesting conversation. Philip appeared on this main panel. He was also on another panel discussing the metaverse later in the week. I have actually got these, but I can't show you them because they're not available anywhere on the web. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have them. So extracts for the purposes of review only. I thought I might have a session in World somewhere that isn't filmed or streamed where we can watch them in their full glory. This was about an hour long. The other session is about an hour and a half. It was great conversation to listen to. So I'm going to put my pictures away, and that will hopefully reveal underneath here. Yeah, underneath it's this is part of the session itself. And the reason I've chosen this actually is oh no, this is the main session, sorry. That other picture was from the later session on Friday, I think it was. Philip is close up to us here, but the reason I've chosen this, I've moved forward and positioned this actually just to give you a flavour of things. As you know, well, you know what I feel about the God Emperor Zuckerberg, but Philip's been on the record as not really approving of Meta. In fact, one of the reasons he's gone as a consultant back as a consultant to Second Life is to avoid companies like Meta taking over the metaverse. So listen to this bit. I think this is exceedingly funny, really. We will see.
Because I think that's going to be a huge challenge, and maybe I'm going to stir up this conversation a moment. I'm going to read you something that you said, Philip, about Mr. Cox's company. You said, if Facebook is successful at building a metaverse with behavioral ad targeting, It's just a very, very bad outcome. And it's not inevitable at all. There's lots of ways that this whole universe can be monetized. That may be one of them. But I'm curious how you think about those issues and all of the lessons, if there's been any lessons learned over your time at Second Life, but also in this new world, Chris, at Facebook, at the social media universe that we're all living through, data tracking. We've had a huge debate, as you very well know, because you've been at the center of it for the last decade, frankly.
Yeah. You know, I mean, restating that, what I said and what I meant, you know, there are two companies worldwide that have built tremendous businesses just in the last 20 years, which in internet time, I guess, is most of it, but still, it's relatively new. And those two companies are Facebook, Meta, and Google that make money through advertising. The point I was making was, if we move those models, which rely on making predictions about what you want and suggesting things to you, and in some cases, I think, manipulating your behavior, yeah, I think it's a terrible risk. The good news is nobody actually has to go there. And I would imagine that, you know, Meta would also point out that it has, you know, different models for things. The model that has to work in the metaverse, in my opinion, is a transaction or a fees model rather than an ads model. That and I definitely stand by, especially.
So is that buying digital goods and subscriptions? Is that?
Yep. In a word, yes.
Chris, is that the model you're
I think you're going to have both. I think if you want free services at scale, advertising is going to be the natural business model for it, just like it has for, you know, since print. And if you're going to want more narrow services that can be ad-free or offer other sort of transactional business models, you're going to have subs, you're going to have digital goods. I think much like on the internet, you're going to have trade-offs, right, and you're going to want to offer a service that's...
Is there a way to do it where the user owns their own data? I mean, one of the sort of benefits of Web3, some of the blockchain things that we've talked about that may exist in terms of layering on top of this, there's this idea that maybe you could own your own data and even maybe sell it to maybe a Meta or to other... I mean, how do you see that?
So first, the user should control their data.
Okay, you've had enough of that. Well, you probably haven't, but that's all you're getting for now. A very diplomatic way he got out of that, I think. Yes.
What's he gonna say?
It was a direct question, which I thought was funny because I thought, oh, wow, yeah, he's sitting right next to the guy. But there you go. Right. Also, in the there was another session. This one's even longer. It's almost an hour and a half. This is called The Possibilities of the Metaverse. I'll just get to the intro so you know who was on it. This is the one I had a picture of. So there we go. Ding dong, ding dong.
That's quite some motion graphics they have.
Together we'll go on pioneers on a new frontier that can act. I'm Nicole Bishop, an uplink top innovator forum, and the founder and CEO of Portfolio, an AI-powered platform that uncovers then transforms metadata in scientific documents into answers that bring moonshots within reach of innovators around the world. Today, we're joined by a panel of innovators imagining and building this new frontier. I'm sure you're curious, what is the Metaverse? Here to answer that question, I'd like to welcome Peggy Johnson, CEO of Magic Leap, a company at the forefront.
Wrong person, actually. Peggy's next to Long.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, here she is.
I've been given the daunting task of...
I can relate as a streamer.
Is.
Can you turn it up a wee bit, Mel?
Unfortunately, I'm on Max.
On Max, okay.
I noticed this while I was recording it. It was not as loud as it could have been.
Yep.
What is the metaverse? And essentially, the metaverse is a blending of your physical and your digital worlds. Basically, it's a little frustrating as an augmented reality company that oftentimes the current dialogue around the metaverse is centered in virtual reality. So virtual reality is where you might put on a headset and you enter another world. And there's great opportunity for virtual reality. There's entertainment, there's training, there's things like that.
Right. Just move on to the other intros. She actually did. It was really fascinating cases that she discussed about with Magic Leap that surprised me actually. Almost enough to want to go get one. Right, here's Philip by the look of it.
We also have Pascal Kaufman, who's a neuroscientist turned entrepreneur that has been named one of the leading voices in new understanding of intelligence by U.S. Business Journal, Inc. He founded the company StarMind for Self-Learning Knowledge Network. Pascal also launched the MindFire Group to decipher the principles of intelligence and to make that knowledge available to cutting-edge research. In addition to an expertise in artificial intelligence, Pascal has expertise in virtual reality, modern philosophy, and innovation management. Thank you so much for joining us. And last but certainly not, we have Ed Lewin, who is the Vice President, Government and Public Affairs at the LEGO Group. There, he's responsible for LEGO Group's work with governments and other societal stakeholders to drive the LEGO brand purpose, which is to inspire and develop the builders of tomorrow. He is passionate about children's rights and well-being, offline and online.
Right, okay, well, we missed the other two intros, didn't we? Here we are, I think.
Research assistant in one. She has expertise in cryptology, analysis, and constructing trusted security architectures for different environments across a range of products and industries, including digital safety in the metaverse. Thank you for joining. Next, we have Philip Rosen, founder and CEO of High Fidelity. However, in 1996, he founded Linden Labs and created Second, a metaverse that allows people to create avatars of themselves and lead a second life in the virtual world. Thank you for joining us, Philip. We have Peggy.
So that was all quite right, but let's say wide-ranging as well, hence the whole hour and a half. Both sessions equally intriguing, actually. And as if we haven't had enough of Philip, prior to these, earlier in the week, he had an interview which is a bit shorter. It's only 20 minutes, and this was with the Wall Street Journal.
Pandemic, where everyone was talking about that, and then Philip, auspicious time to have you, since the Metaverse is now the business of the world's largest social media company. But obviously, you got there first. I wanted to kind of jump right into something that you and I talked about previously that I think is very relevant and important. As I gather, your view is that the Metaverse is not a place that we want a company that has an advertising-based business to be in charge of. So let's start there, because that's clearly what we're headed for right now.
Right. So, as Second Life is not based on advertising. So there's definitely an alternative. And
you've never been based on advertising.
We never have. To a certain extent, it was because I started the company before advertising as a business really became viable. Like I started the company in '99, and really the growth of the ad business, first with Google, didn't really happen until a few years later. So it's almost like we didn't even have it as an opportunity.
So you weren't going to put banner ads into your 3D world.
Yeah, I'm sure we talked about banner ads being a thing. We also didn't want to get in the way of people because the world of Second Life is owned by the people who own the land.
Yeah.
We figured they'd do advertising of their own, which certainly people do. So I should say there are things like advertisements for clothes and stuff that you will see in stores inside Second Life, but the business of monetizing Second Life is not modifying people's behavior and capturing their attention. And that's the thing that I think is dreadfully dangerous if moved from the 2D online world to the 3D metaverse world.
I mean, we live in
Right, so reasserting his opinion there in a slightly different words from the earlier one. Right, okay, well, can't show you all these, either legally or time-wise. So let me know, folks, if you want a private viewing, which will last for about 2.5 hours in World here. in OpenSim, and we'll see what we can do to arrange that. Because actually, all three of these are pretty crucial talks. Not this one is Philip, obviously, but the other two much more because of the wide-ranging conversation of all the panelists. Okay, well, while we're on the video, I've got a lovely little clip here. I'm not quite sure where it came from, but I've actually had to name it because it just had letters in front of it. So I called it Alien Forest, and I do like it. And then we're going to hear a little bit about deploying shared XR spaces. That's XR is the word for VR, AR, whatever. Well, with Igloo Vision, basically, you'll see when we get to it. This is just pretty, pretty, pretty.
Alex from Igloo Vision. So, welcome to the ISE 2022.
Thank you. Yeah, great to be here.
Okay, brilliant. So, I want to talk a little bit about your work with Igloo Vision, and can you tell us a little bit about it and what kind of solutions Igloo Vision runs?
Absolutely. So, Igloo Vision is the immersive workspace company. So, we've been developing immersive installations for 13 years. Myself personally, I've been with Igloo for 4 years in quite a few roles, and now I work in sort of our business development team here at Igloo.
Brilliant. So I was able to catch you guys at the ISE 2021. That was in London, and I remember seeing like some really nice solutions. You actually have this method of converting offices into immersive kind of office spaces. Can you tell us what kind of clients would look for this type of product, and how does it help them to curate whatever content or whatever collaborations they need?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've worked with a number of clients in the corporate space, and the main vision behind that is that they want to be able to interact with their content, with their data, but in a new, innovative way. And the main driving force behind that would be they want to improve their decision making, the speed of that decision making, and the quality of that decision making. And we've been working with clients such as Nike, and we've also worked with bigger corporate clients such as Microsoft as well. We can do a standalone solution, which is what we had at ISE 2021. So if you remember, it was the sort of standalone box frame. But quite often they want to have the immersive meeting room, but they also want to be able to use it as a normal meeting room. And so in that case, what we'll do is we'll go in, install the hardware, and then they can then, at the switch of a button, turn that immersiveness on and off.
Great. And I know what kind of like projector technologies do you use, and which companies actually help to set that up?
So we're pretty display agnostic. We'll typically pick the best hardware for the space. So today, as you can see behind us, we're here with Epson, and we use a lot of Epson Pro display models in our rooms. But we're also happy to work with other manufacturers such as Christie, Digital Projection, Barco, etc. We're also actually able to work with LEDs as well, so which we have done in some installations. So directly opposite us, we've got Lang, the Lang stand over there, and they've got a big LED display. So we're also able to work with that. We're display content agnostic. So it really depends on what's right fit for the room and what our clients are looking to get out of that space. Is ultra short throw important? Is 4K important? Or in some instances, is 3D important? And that will ultimately inform the projector that we suggest.
Right. Well, I'm going to cut it there. Couple of minutes more to go, but you get the gist anyway. So that company is actually called Igloo Vision, IGLOO, and I think you really have to be involved in, wanting to do crazy immersive spaces to be involved with that. But it looked fairly good there. We had a clip last week showing Vibella's new campus, and this is silent. It's got no words on it. So, but they published this in the week, and I didn't know there was a mountain on their campus. The guy runs up the mountain to have a view, and that's all we get of it. Okay, so
It looked like you had your hat on.
yes. I have to have a word with them about that. Okay, so let's get into the web links for the week. And again, we don't have a huge amount this week. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to look at some of the virtual worlds sort of things first. First of all, well, I'm going to start here with the Scar Ghost. Cue the music. Right. I knew it was there somewhere. Scar Ghost, of course, he starts the week with his week peak, and of course, he was actually in France when he wrote this, and that was then he's on the way to tend ore next week. Well, he's already there, in fact. That's what one can tell from the Twitter feeds. This, anyways, is roundup for April 18th. So, in fact, it's not the week just gone by here. It's the week gone by before that. And by the way, I don't know whether I even announced it at the top of the show, but this is our weekday, our week headline, sorry, for the 29th of May. Well, come on, we'll binge you soon. That would cure everything, wouldn't it? May madness will be over, I hope. Anyway, this is his roundup of the week gone before. So, it's talking about a lot of the rumours about Apple's XR glasses and stuff, which apparently have been leaked and shown to their board members, but everything else, like this picture, is complete hypothesis. In other words, it's fake pictures and fake news, but it's based on a known foundation. Is that the way to describe it? I don't know. But Apple are notoriously quiet. I don't think we're going to see anything in the headwear department till next year. But you never know. You never know. They might have something up their sleeves. Anyway, I'm looking at some other tech stuff too. And what is strictly speaking a roundup there. So, right now I'm going to move on. I'm going to just come to a couple more YouTubes. This lady, Isabelle, whoever she is, I keep forgetting.
We could save money if we switch to long-lasting
no, I don't want it.
Then we won't have to pay for a full-time battery
Gabba. Shut up, advert. Shut up, advert.
Full-time battery changer?
We do, ma'am.
I've got an ad blocker here. Why is it not working? That's out of order. Right. Yeah, anyway, this is Isabelle Chan. You can probably see her name at the little bottom there where I'm twiggling my mouse. She does these vlogs, and she's a chatty little lady. Well, maybe not so little and maybe not so young, but she usually does them from Second Life, but she does, now and again she pops in to do one from Sansar. This was from Sansar, and she also does sort of destination things for Sansar too, which is, of course, Sansar, although we're not active there with this program anymore. It's getting a bit of a reboot at the moment. So this is what she sounds like basically, and it's got a nice western town to do it in. Actually, this is longer than normal. I better
gonna go to Sansar and hang out on my own. So I've come here to, I can't remember what it's called, El Pueblo. I'll put the name of it underneath the video because I have to go log back in to find the name again. This is like a little,
I like
the Wild West. I'm not really dressed for the Wild West, but I
like the monkey.
So I thought I'll just bring you in. I just felt like talking and making a video, and I was going to be Auntie Virginia tonight, and now I'm not.
Okay, that's another of her character parts she plays. Okay, so just because it sounds so and whatever, you will actually find this at the Metaworld news feed. So that's twitter.com/Metaworld News, and you'll find the link there for Fancy to Chat is what the link calls, because that's what she said at some point. I'm now going to load from background here. We don't have a reader version of this, but Science Space starting tomorrow. I had been hoping to get Adam along, but due to our technical problems, and Australia time difference. I didn't, but starting tomorrow, Science Space has their annual summer festival. And here we go. Oh, it's open now. Oh, okay. We're not in Safari anymore. Never mind. It's actually a web page and it doesn't come into reader mode, so I had to go this way. Basically, Unruly Muse Spring Renaissance Fair, Monday, 30th of May through to Sunday, 5th of June. And they have a region called Unruly Muse. So that's UNRULY space MEWS. I don't know whether it's like an amused street or whether it's a cat noise. Who knows? No, that's meow, isn't it? Never mind. Right, okay. Fantastical Medieval Village. Most of their weekly shows will be relocated for the week. And they'll be having their office hour sessions in the park. So big schedule here. Monday, tomorrow, they've got James Olmos live in the park. Tuesday, their office hours live in the park, and then later on in the day, 11 p.m, DJ Rosa live in the park with Latin and classical rock. And at midnight, Blues in the Muse. That's got a ring to it, hasn't it? With a DJ called the Blues Man, of course. On Wednesday, 1st of June, Buzz in the Park at 2 p.m, coffee in the parks, a community hour in the courtyard, and Spiral live in the park, live music videos from Spiral. They're good. At midnight. So midnight has been midnight. That's the end of Tuesday as opposed to the beginning of Wednesday. No, the end of Wednesday as opposed to the beginning of Thursday. Right. 1 in the morning, however, on the Thursday, Unruly Blues has more Blues in the Muse. Yes, they can't get enough of it, can they? Friday is karaoke at the Blue Lagoon. And let me see, Midnight Jay and Nearly Silent Les show, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yes, I can, right. Okay, and Sunday, 9 p.m, which will be just after this show next week, so to speak, Latin classical rock with DJ Rosa. And the party at the end of the universe, live in the park at midnight, which then closes all the proceedings. Final celebrations and closing party. And they're inviting A creators. If you're in Science Space at all, you can be part of the event by having your own vendor market, stall, linking shop items, and also a heads up, he says, we'll be running a best medieval costume contest. So get busy making fantastic period outfits and accessories. So there you go. And advance warning over in OpenSim here. I have yet to hear back from them near the time, but there are plans actually for a major virtual fashion show taking place over actually a number of different grids, and it will be in October, so it's a fair old way yet. But I mean, basically, there's what we might call the fashionistas from various OpenSim grids all getting together to have their own. I suppose it's a bit like OpenSim Fest, which happens in July, but. In their case, fashion. And I hope they have some boy fashions. I mean, men fashion. Can't call it boy fashion, can I? Right, okay, so let me put the Science Space away, and we're back on that, aren't we? Okay. Right, Road to VR. .com. Here again, the link is in the Metaworld News Twitter stream. This is one of VR's biggest social hangouts is getting upgraded avatars with more convincing motion tracking. This is VR chat, which, is... I always used to get it confused as one of the meta things. So I'm very good. It's actually quite good, so I'm glad it's not. Their focus is very much on a social world there. And you can get it on a flat screen, but you can also get it in your helmet, or at least one of the two of the helmets, I don't know. So yeah, there's a choice there. Anyway, they've completely revamped their inverse kinematics system on the platform, which is used to estimate in-game body positions relative to users' physical movement. If you see an avatar's elbow bend weirdly or their legs drag on the floor in a strange shuffle, there's an IQ system there trying to compensate for the lack of sufficient tracking data. Would they have something like that in OpenSim, I think? Hey, I just wobble. If it wants me to wobble, it makes me wobble. Right, okay, updates in beta for a while, etc., etc. Meta, of course, are merging venues and Horizon Worlds and everything into one vast new platform, which will be a social VR platform, like full of adverts, customized to your avatar, etc., etc. All these released, you can get them via Steam. Anyway, that post is at road2vr.com, roadtovr.com. The direct link at twitter.com/Metaworld News. The same here. I mentioned in July, OpenSim Festival is coming along. We would normally have this stuff on our in-world review program, which isn't happening this week. So hence you're getting a bit of it here instead. This is an online interview with merchant organizer Luna Lunaria. The interview is by somebody called Dot Nolan, and she is the merchant organizer for the OpenSim Festival, which will be happening in July. They have a on our other stage, we've got a slideshow about them, but also they have a Discord channel as well to keep up with. Anyway, it's an interview with this lady in question here. She still spans Second Life, Mobius Grid, and Kitely Grid. And she also lives in a somewhat dysfunctional world known as RL. Yes, I think I've heard of that somewhere. Anyway, she maintains the Lunaria Emporium, which is a marketplace. So this is strictly an interview with her. But it tells you a little bit in advance about the OpenSim Festival happening in July. You'll actually find the interview. Guess where you'll find it? OpenSimFest.com. So that's OpenSimFest.com, which is the official blog, of course. Now, talking of official sites here, we've got Thursday's HG Safari site. And it's hgsafari.blogspot.com. So hgsafari.blogspot.com. And this too is a post Thursday's put up about the same thing, the OpenSim Festival. Basically, talking about the cost of putting it on. It's only about $1,000 but you know that's a lot of money for a virtual thing, especially on OpenSim. And she said one way you can help out is by becoming a sponsor. So if you want to do that, or partake in any way really, which can be another form of sponsorship, you can find out a bit more about it here. As Thursday says, any extra money from sponsors will be shared out among the performers. Of which there's going to be about 90 over the course of 17 days. So what is 17? Well, it's 2.5 weeks, isn't it? So that's pretty long for a festival. That's a Bridgemere, which is, I think, oh, it doesn't work here. Apparently it's a panorama. It's not happening. Anyway, Bridgemere, of course, and Heavy Thought, we had them on our in-world review a few weeks ago, and there indeed it's our own show embedded from the 24th of April. Anyway, so you'll find this at hgsafari.blogspot.com. And this next one, yes, this is this is still the Metaworld News Twitter stream, by the way. The mutes of virtual reality are upending the metaverse without saying a thing. This is just a funny read, actually. It's about VR chat, and it's about these characters called mutes. And I think the idea is they're not allowed to talk, even though I think in VR chat you can. Freaky free reign allowing people to build original expansive worlds of music, sex, and imagination. Players can inhabit whatever body they desire, blah, blah, blah. This is VR chat generally they're talking about. The game has no written chat function, and players mostly communicate through voice or crude drawings. As the title suggests, you're generally expected to speak to other people. But anyway, this is where the boundaries come in, and we found out about what's the Great Pug Bar. Oh, something to do with Lendra. Anyway, silent screams and all sorts of strange behaviours when people are not using voice. Oh, and they work things out through Discord too. Anyway, just interesting if you're into VR chat. Quite a nice little article there. I better remove these items if I go, because if I don't, I'm going to get confused, am I not? Right, so sorry. Clicking away. And yeah. And this is okay, right. Well, we moved now. We are now on links you will find courtesy of my general account, which is twitter.com/Mal Burns. And starting off here, well, we've obviously had Scar Ghost already. This is Metaverse.consulting. And that seems to be it. No .com, no nothing. Or maybe consulting, maybe a suffix these days. I don't know. METAVERSD.CONCULTING. And clearly that's all you need to get there, because that's all I have here. Anyway, this is I keep thinking this is a company that used to be known as K0. I mean, even their typefaces they use for all these charts are the same thing. I remember he used. Anyway, they've added 18 new virtual worlds to their charts, bringing it a grand total of 138, both live and in development. From a segmentation perspective, the blockchain browser-based VW sector continues to exhibit the highest growth, etc. And this chart is the 4 runners and riders in that group. And no way can you actually see this on my screen. You can see the chart, but you can't read it. You need to go to the website and probably zoom in to actually get it all. But there are a heck of a lot of worlds in there. I'm not even going to pick one out at random. It just wouldn't be right. Yeah, interesting chart there. Then they've got some more technical information about particular things. Where is it? This is building on Ethereum, which is the blockchain thing. There are 12. These are more familiar, like Somnium Spatial. And actually, those are the only 2 on it. Oh, right, non-Ethereum. There's plenty of non-Ethereum. There's plenty of them aren't actually even using blockchain. Thank goodness. Okay. But anyway, this is technical. This is a bit like a Maria Koloff site where you've got graphs and statistics and just everything you could possibly want. This is, of course, the virtual worlds in general. It's they're covering screen-based worlds, helmet-based worlds, and ones that work in both. And some of them use blockchain technologies, and others don't. This is the virtual worlds in VR. There, this one includes quite a few. You've got Sansar in here, for example. VR chats in here. Horizon Worlds, it's only got a small little line in here. Rec Room, there's a big one. You can see who the winners are here, don't you? I suppose Meta only started 18 months ago, so they got... Where's Second Life, for Christ's sake? They got Sansar. You'd think they'd have Second Life in there, or OpenSim, but never mind, they can't be everywhere and everything, can they? So you'll find this link at, as I said, come on, close silly thing. So I got one bit in the way there. Right, you'll find this at Metaverse, SED at the end there, .consulting. And moving on, we're very up to date this week. As I say, it's been it hasn't been a quiet week in terms of Davos and stuff like that, but for links it has, or meaningful links. The usual roundup at Forbes.com from Charlie Fink, The Week in XR, Money to the Metaverse and Mirror World. Interestingly, hunting all over the place. I guess the All conference is actually starting tomorrow, and Or Live actually tend to host his Week in XR video. It hasn't appeared this week, nor has an audio version, so I assume they're missing a week because they're at Or now anyway. Last week's, which we actually covered already last week, is an actual interview with Ori, is one of the organisers of all, talking in advance about it. Anyway, he's got the written version here, and he's talking about heading over there. Oh, I may have got this wrong. Wednesday, June the 1st. Is that Wednesday? Right, okay, it doesn't start to Wednesday, so it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that means Evo's theatre thing is actually on Thursday, not Tuesday. I got that wrong. Right. Shows me I can't talk on there and look at my calendar at the same time. Okay, so where are we? Basically a roundup here. You know, a lot on the more technical, high-end side of Metaverse and stuff. People like Charlie Fink don't have an opinion on open source versus closed source or commercial or whatever. Like, in fact, if anything, they give more coverage to the business side of things, you know, the big money sphere. But all interesting, especially when you've got a field that's in early stages development. Stuff. Oh, I keep seeing that picture all week. You can try out the HoloLens at all. That's 5 years ago. I don't know what's more attractive, the HoloLens or that woman's hair. They go together like something or other. I'm not quite sure what. Good picture, actually. I'm not being rude. I'm just commenting. Might be rude as well, but who knows. Okay, so that's at Forbes.com, Forbes.com. Moving down, arinsider.co. So that's ARINSIDER.co. XR Talks, what is Niantic's real-world metaverse? Many of you may remember. Okay, well, it's all good. Right, I think there is a link to a talk on this site, actually. Anyway, oh, God, now what am I doing? That wasn't the idea. Darn it. Don't click by yourself, dear browser. Right. My Berlin's familiar. Anyway, Niantic's real-world metaverse this has been a big... I'm sort of vaguely interested in this. Niantic were the people behind Pokemon, or Pokemon Go, which was a huge thing a few years ago, and has continued to be, I gather. And they're basically using the same architecture and spatial mapping ideas. They've made them into a developer kit called Lightship, and they've already launched that now. And there's a talk with video and takeaways below, talking about it. Okay, I'm just going to switch to the website view of this, actually. Oh, typical. This is where we get all the interruptions, isn't it? No, I'm not going to give you my email for now. Probably got it already, actually. Right, okay. AR space, there we are. Okay, I think we've seen these videos at various points in the past. But anyway, this is the actual talk. And the idea, as I see it with Lightship, is that, you know, you'll have markers and things all over the kind of world. I mean, there are limited areas in the world being the planet, by the way, not virtual, where these are at the moment. But the idea is, as you travel around in the new world, you will be real world. You will be able to be positioned visually, and you'll be able to launch sort of virtual and augmented reality augmentation to the place where you're in. It builds on the concept of visual positioning, and it doesn't use GPS satellite data. It uses visual signals in the world itself. Hence, like Pokemon, they will be, I suppose, planting these things around that will detect you as you get close to them and position you according to the next nearest one. It's like a triangulation process with cell towers, I guess, rather than, you know, satellite GPS. once the device knows where it is and what it's looking at, it can then infuse the right digital content. Not really much talked about privacy on this. I mean, that could be a bit worrying that there's endless array of digital content available to me just as I move around and they know where I am. But obviously, it's something you would have to activate to get the information. You know, it's not like a headset thing where you're walking around and you can have no choice about the overlays. Niantic isn't actually the only one developing this principle. It says Google's Live View 3D navigation localizes devices using Street View imagery. We looked at this, although I never did find the London one. Some of the filming of the live 3D navigation stuff from Google the other week. It basically uses object recognition from Street View, which of course they have a database at Street View of all the information on the photographs from around the world, and that can inform a device where it is and in what direction it's pointing, thus enabling 3D wayfinding overlays. All very complicated. This is well worth reading though. So AR Insider Co for more about this. ARINSIDER.co. And I'll put that one away for now and move down. And why Mark Zuckerberg will not own the metaverse. Yep. Let us be clear about this. I can't remember a period in lifetime where political and social conversation was more polarized. Every opinion, no matter how inane, you can find someone on the internet to vehemently disagree with you. However, one take is nearly universally endorsed across the socio-political spectrum. Zuckerberg is not a force for good in the world. No, he is not. Right, recent years that Meta can take nearly 50% cut of all goods sold on the Horizon Worlds, its metaverse platform, received widespread condemnation, uniting everyone from Fortune 500 CEOs to left-wing Twitter to whatever category Elon Musk falls into. The headlines hit many of the familiar talking points levied against Meta: greedy, hypocritical, unfriendly to creators, and run by a cruel young cyber monarch. Sorry, emperor, not monarch. How dare you call him a mere monarch? Right. But more importantly, this news also sheds light on Zuckerberg's troubled concept of the universe, a top-down closed system controlled by a single organization. So potential of the metaverse is astounding, etc., etc. It can change the world and for the better, but not if it's controlled by Zuckerberg and the like. So, interesting article there. Wholly concur, basically. And it's not all about the Lord Emperor. It's a few other things going on, but mostly it's making that point, the point that everybody agrees with. It makes you wonder if it's worth making the point anymore. I suppose it's just a matter of reminding us all we all agree with each other. And the only person who disagrees with us is Zuckerberg himself and his employees. Right. I was surprised his vice president of world affairs wasn't at Davos, actually. They sent that other chap that Philip had to contend with. Anyway, moving on. So that was arpost.co.uk. So we didn't have super amounts this week. Okay. Moderndiplomacy.eu. So this is two words as one, modern diplomacy, MODERNDIPLOMACY.eu. Remember that you can go to twitter.com/Mal Burns, MALBURNS, to find all the links that I've included here this week and many others besides, I hasten to add. So this is a new initiative to build an equitable, interoperable and safe metaverse. Well, of course. And this, although this is a modern diplomacy, it is actually about the World Economic Forum, which we started off when we were showing you some video clips from there. During the course of the Economic Forum, they announced a new initiative called Defining and Building a Metaverse. So they're definitely taking it seriously. This is the sort of place you really want to take notice and hopefully not take it. I don't think they're interested in Zuki anyway. They're above all that. Anyway, the initiative brings together key stakeholders to build an economically viable, interoperable, safe and inclusive metaverse. research suggests the metaverse is expected to grow to an $800 billion market by 2024, which is literally 18 months away. Well, the beginning of it is. It can develop in many ways depending on research, innovation, investment and policy. The new initiative convenes more than 60 leading technology and other sector companies alongside experts, academics and civil society to accelerate the development of governance and policy frameworks for the metaverse and strengthen economic and social value opportunities. Interesting, the two panels that Philip was on, along with some others I watched, didn't really make any mention of this initiative, although clearly by the fact they were having a panels talking about the metaverse sort of reiterates the fact of their interest. The initiative focuses on two key areas. Firstly, the governance of the metaverse, how the technologies and environments of the metaverse can be developed in a safe, secure, interoperable and inclusive way. And the second will focus on value creation and identify the incentives and risks that businesses, individuals, and society will encounter as the metaverse comes to life. The initiative will also outline how value chains may be disrupted, industries may be transformed, and new assets could be created and rights protected. On and on it goes. Good reading here, plus quite a few quotes from relevant people, including good old Nick Clegg, yes. Load of people there. As I said, this is moderndiplomacy.eu to find this. And if you go to twitter.com/malbones, you'll find a direct link to it there. The title is called New Initiative to Build an Equitable, Interoperable and Safe Metaverse. All right. This really has been the theme all week. Right, so the ScarGhost.com. Well, we did have his peak in the week in the peak, whatever. Yeah, cue the music. Thank you for getting me out of that one. Okay, before he went to travelling, he sort of he reprised this February 17th. So this is a while back. He retweeted this anyway. He did a hands-on with Ultra Leap Stratos about feeling the touch in XR without gloves. Yeah, I can't remember. And this has got the wrong dates on this. I can't remember. This seems to be more recent than February, but I might be wrong. I certainly don't remember reading this before. Anyway, so that device is the Ultra Leap Stratos, and basically it allows you the sensors that on that pad sort of are, I suppose, an alternative to wearing a glove. And the little thing you see where I'm moving my mouse around there at the top, that's actually a leap motion. Hence, that's where the Ultra Leap gets its name. So Ultra Leap Stratos explores a product for which Ultra Haptics, which later became Ultra Leap after the fusion with Leap Motion, was famous. It's a little box you can put on your table to feel haptic sensation on your hands without wearing any kind of gloves. Yes, you read it, etc., etc. So, ScarGhost.com there. Okay, and as if we haven't heard enough of the God Emperor Zuckerberg for this week, it turns out that Meta isn't building its own metaverse at all. Well, of course it isn't. It's going to nick it from everybody else it can get its hands on, isn't it? We didn't think it was going to build it itself. Come on. Right, in a twist to the tale about Facebook's big leap towards building the metaverse, the company's president of global affairs, good old Nick Clegg, former deputy prime minister of the United Kingdom, he'll have you know, remind you, has said that he does not want to build its own metaverse at all, according to the site called Futurism. At the height of accusations spreading misinformation, hate and violence last year, Facebook announced a major pivot from social media to build a brand new world they called the Metaverse. Meta was part of the exercise that also saw the company unveil a virtual reality app and announce popular games that will be available on its helmets. Blah, 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 and it was planned to hire 10,000 engineers to work towards building a digital space. Well, as Nick Clegg pointed out on that epic 31-minute read at Medium that we mentioned last week and the week before, I think, or probably at least last week anyway. Clegg stated that there are many benefits, how there are many benefits in the metaverse and how Meta itself cannot possibly be the main provider of this digital space, which of course is the exact opposite to what the God Emperor announced last year when he announced that he was hiring 10,000 engineers to build his own space. So what's going on? We don't really know. Clegg refers to the rent-seeking instincts of dominant platforms. And ironic, who do you think you work for, Nick? In his piece that completely overlooks the fact that the company rates US $114 billion in revenue in 2021 alone. That, of course, was before it became Meta. Lamenting the fractured internet, etc., moving towards an open metaverse. That's it. Well, it's an interesting little article anyway. I think Zuckerberg is living in a daydream land of some sort. It's not just a condemnation of what they're doing, but I think the guy's sort of daydream, not really a visionary, it's just daydreaming about what he might be able to do and then realizing he can't and changing his direction a bit. He's certainly obsessed with the metaverse by all reports of people who know him. I mean, seriously obsessed, not just, mentally obsessed, if that's the right word. Anyway, you'll find this one at interestingengineering.com. Interesting it is. Interesting engineering is all one word. So INTERESTINGENGINERERING.com. Oh, don't you love websites? I suppose actually if I just said interesting engineering you'd find it easily enough, but it is all one word. Right, so remove that, and I can also remove the other one, which is where we started, which was the Wheat Beak, which brings us to our final section, so to speak, which all these items are also on the twitter.com Mal Burns feed, but they are actually housed separately on my Mastodon feed, which is if you want to get there, you go to Mastodon Social, MASTODON.social, and then /@ and then Metaworld. And as I say, they go to Twitter anyway, so it's going here is just one less click. The good thing, of course, is when you get here, most of these things you can actually play like this in situ without going to YouTube. This is an odd one. This was a talk with Kent Bai. It's not a Voices of VR podcast. In fact, there haven't been any this week. I guess he's been busy. But this was actually a talk with him. And I'm not sure whether I think Carino is the name of the broadcaster, and this is episode 4. I'm not quite sure. But anything with Kent on it is interesting. And of course, he covers an awful lot very quickly when he's talking, as I know full well. The World Economic Forum ones that I showed at the beginning are not. I think these ones may be available now. No, in fact, I'm going to click through and check whether this gets to where I want it to. Yeah, they're not easy to find, so you will need, if you want to get through, you will need to follow this link. And yeah, here we are. This is the panel session, yeah, it's the whole thing is here now. Okay, there were some posts that were extracts, but it looks like the whole thing is here now. You can't. Well, you can view it online anyway. That's the main thing. You can't copy it, and needless to say, well, why should you? But needless to say, that means you also can't embed it. So you can see the link is here, but the video is not embedded. You actually have to click through to the World Economic Forum site, which, by the way, if you go to worldweforum.org, don't think you're going to find it. It's a nightmare to navigate that. Well, they are involved in so many things. So it's unless you have the link, which I did put there, it's going to be hard to find it. Yesterday also a new edition of F Reality. They're talking about Top Gun Maverick, the new movie, but there's a VR thing for it, side quest, etc. More to do with games and commercial stuff than the open metaverse or anything like that. And here we are, all night in Portland. Is it in Oregon or somewhere in the States anyway? Augmented reality. This is one of their local nights, and a few days ago their Portland chapter had their night, and this is the video record. They're talking about entering XR, building a metaverse with intention, community, and meaning. And
Portland members can get a discount of 20% off.
Okay, that's an hour and a half too. So, and yeah, well, there's a lot of guests there too, because it doesn't matter where these all nights happen. Thanks to the web, they seem to get quite a few people joining in. Okay, the other broadcast from the World Economic Forum here is another very roundabout way you're going to have to go to get to. This is the main one with Magic Leap, Philip, and Andrew Sorkin, shaping a shared future, making the metaverse. This was in the main auditorium, and if you follow this, you have to open a Twitter, a Twitter link, and then it shows up as embedded in Twitter. And how do we do this? Here we are. Then you scan ahead, and you play it through the player on Twitter.
If you're asking, can we have a form of interoperability, say an identity and moderation that is.
I think that's a fake clip I used earlier, isn't it? Right.
Raises opportunities it creates, and we're going to dig into all of them this afternoon together. And we have an amazing group of people here to talk about.
Right. Okay. Well, I covered all that at the beginning, so no problem there. The only one I don't think I was able to get an embeddable link version was the Wall Street Journal interview with Philip, directed him personally. Okay. Can't even remember this one is. There's no. I don't think this is performance. It's something else. It's an hour long. Oh yeah, it's a Zoom. In fact.
Hello everyone. Thank you for joining XRMOST second live discussion panel on Discord. I'm really glad to get everyone on board.
Right. Let's talk about Second Life there. Oops.
Just trying to get.
Sorry, no, not doing that now. Okay. At YouTube, this is XRMOST, XRM in capitals and UST lowercase, and moderated. Oh, yeah, I remember. You actually, if you just play this, it goes silent.
More people on the back.
He says, right, you can come now, and it's all quiet because nobody turns up.
Doesn't plenty.
Yeah.
Then I talk to Dennis and I say, well, we have this big theater, a virtual theater that we've been building.
Okay, well, this one starts about four minutes.
But we always start
4 minutes in because of the sound, and it's just an hour long. I think they're basically talking about immersive XR performances. And a whole group of people talking there, as you probably saw at the beginning from the big shot of Zoom. Right, let me. Oh, good. What happened there? What has happened there? I've been taken away somewhere. Let me see if I can find my again. Right, I don't know quite what happened there, but something took me out of the crash. It just took me somewhere else. Okay, so that's and there wasn't great much here this week anyway. Metaverse gaming and the Web 3D exploring the Sandbox. The Sandbox is a platform called the Sandbox, by the way, and that was open Metaverse broadcast. Where we? Yes, we got to have these now and again, haven't we? Sex in the Metaverse. This is Venus SX platform, if I remember rightly.
Welcome everyone to Simulation Nation.
And
Anyway, or expand our imagination.
I find it rather funny. Look at those characters. They do have legs. I don't know. Well, a couple of them. No, I'm not sure they do actually. They certainly don't have anything by way of anatomy below the waist. So it's a very odd place to be talking about having sex in the metaverse. But never mind. Moving on up, and I coming back this way to the last one. Basically, I don't know. Did you watch it this week, James?
Oh yeah, I did. Yep.
Yeah. It's early in the week. Obviously, this is the upload VR version of the VR download is the general, Metaverse type podcast, as opposed to the gaming one they do later in the week, and they do a lot of specials too. You follow them on Twitter or on YouTube. They post a lot of, hands-on experiences with various things. So Apple. Headsets, of course, in the news again. Quest 2 LCDC. I can't remember much of this one, if indeed I watched it all.
Well,
did you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the discussion of the Apple headset, and David Heaney, who's in Ireland, he was talking. He had quite some interesting stories to tell, and I don't want to. I'm not sure what the sources were, but just about how the headset was on and off and on and off. And there apparently was a lot of controversy internally at Apple about, do they do this thing? Do they not do this thing? So that's in the last, probably the last third of the broadcast. But quite good, I thought, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly been a thing too of the Apple trademarking information's coming out, and then I think the biggest thing was that apparently they showed a prototype of whatever it is they're working on to the board.
Mm-hmm.
And
good afternoon, everybody. It is a privilege to be here. My name is Andrew Ross Sorkin of the New York Times.
Where's
CNBC.
that coming from?
We are live in high fidelity here to you, but this is going to be a conversation about Metaverse, where maybe we won't really be live in the future. Maybe we'll all be all together in the Metaverse. But there are so many issues.
Yeah, we've got something here.
Raises opportunities it creates, and we're going to dig into all of them this afternoon together. And we have an amazing group of people here to talk about these issues of governance, of potential regulation, what those opportunities really look like, potentially even issues around inequality, and then we'll get into the innovation and tech side of it.
I know what happened.
Well, let me introduce who's here.
That was when you get to that World Economic Summit site, the video actually pops up into a new window when you get it running. So that's why I was getting confused in the background here, because actually what's actually happening is I've got pop under windows, as it were. So yeah, that was back to Davos with the introduction there. If you're wondering what the extra sound was, it took me by surprise too. Yeah. Anyway, so because the board have actually apparently seen a prototype, then it makes you wonder if whatever Apple are doing is closer. Or, but it may have been a real prototype. That still needs work.
Yeah, and David also he really talked about the challenges at Apple in particular about the personalities, like when Jobs was working with who designed the iPod, excuse me.
Johnny Ive?
Yeah. I think that's what he's talking about.
I think Jobs really did the iPad, but Johnny Ive was their industrial designer.
Right,
right. The iPad was definitely his kind of thing, and all the what do they call it? The style of icons. That was Johnny Ive before he decided that he needed more simple icon styles. He changed his mind a bit, but
But the point was that Jobs was able to keep that person on track, and without Jobs, the design of some of the VR headset has just been off the wall, and so and with headsets, it's always, is it lighter or is it higher resolution? Is it lighter or does the battery last longer? Is it lighter or so it's just very difficult compromises that have to be chosen to bring a product to bear.
Yeah, I totally agree with the idea that, I never rated Johnny Ive that highly as a designer, to be honest. He was certainly in the right place at the right time with Apple, though. But the visionary was Jobs. Jobs sort of imagined something and said, right, let's res it. That was it. Fred Tim Cook is not a visionary in that sense. He's running. He was favored by Jobs to run the company, but it's now a company that is Apple. It's not in the real innovation space anymore. They can bring out Apple, the car iOS thing for your cars. They gave up actually the idea of making a car.
Yep.
What's new? I mean, even the thing that I think that really innovated since Tim Cook is the Apple Watch, which at first I was very cynical about. Now I can't live without it when I'm out and about, because I never need to pick up my phone. I just talk to the watch. But even so, the form factor of the watch was nothing particularly new. When the iPad came out, nobody had ever seen a computer on a slate which you use by your hands. It was the first of its kind. Now the other manufacturers had even dreamt of doing that, and arguably the iPod was you already had Sony MP3 players and things like that. So the iPod itself was very much a very particular Apple thing at the time. The audio quality was better than MP3, and when the iPod Touch came along, it had a visual interface as opposed to just being a player. But now I think the legacy of Jobs, well, plenty of legacy there, but the last legacy item really I think is the iPad, which was him. For sure, with Johnny Ive doing the icons and the packaging of making it look slick, and it cost, it wasn't cheap, but of course it's now being, even the cheaper you can get pads that imitate that form factor for less than $100 now. They're next to useless in many ways, or running a cut down version of Chrome or something, but it was the iPad was the first, and it is still by far the best. Everybody would agree. But under Tim Cook, there's been nothing, except the Apple Watch. Which again, what's a watch? It's just something else. They've moved their ecosystem into a watch, just as they've done it into a car dashboard, just as they did it with the phone. Well, I suppose the iPhone was fairly unique to them, but it wasn't the first mobile phone. It was just the first Apple phone. When they need to come, technically, I would have thought glasses or something would be, the way Apple should move into this space of augmented reality or virtual reality, and I reckon it should be like a pair of headphones where you plug them in to your phone or your iPod if you still got one, or iPad even. It'd be like headphones. It will be an additional device that works with stuff you've already got. And, obviously your phone or your pad will be in a bag or in your pocket or something, so you would only be wearing glasses. But again, glasses, people are hard of reading and stuff wear glasses anyway, so it's not exactly a unique form not there, but it's a damn sight better than the helmets that people like Zuckerberg are peddling. Who wants to walk around like you drive a motorcycle when you're not on one, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I picture Tim Cook in a way because, I come back my brains and think, now, what could Apple do? What could Apple invent that really would be an invention like the iPad was?
Yep. Well, if you get a chance to watch that episode, I recommend it. They had some good speculation in that area.
Right. I will look back on that at some point. Right in front of me now, but I'm not going to play it now.
Not the time.
Okay. Well, I think we're at the end of our, I was about to say tether, but the end of the show is what it is. Any other thoughts?
We're straining the leash. No,
we're straining the leash. Yeah, we're bursting the pipes.
Yeah, I regret missing the safari. I had work. I could not break away from work, but it sounds like it went well.
It was
Good,
fairly lengthy. Everything was in chat, and then both music, both. Well, Joe played for an hour here, right, on the stage on the island over the way, and the musician at the musician at the other place played for about half an hour, and then the woman there. It was like a Star Trekky kind of spaceship sort of thing.
Oh wow!
It wasn't. Nice. It wasn't Trekky stuff, but it was that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The woman who ran that took over and tried to give a tour of the space station and then the ships. And but I don't know. It was an absolutely vast region. If you cameraed out, you could actually see the station. And on the platforms there were various ships you could go into and everything else like that. But and that was big enough, but that was only touching the surface. If in the outlying regions beyond where my camera was taking me, there were other things in space. So I suppose it's like having a vast multi-region area. Maybe a VAR file or something that's all set off the ground in outer space, but as big as 25 regions or something. But everybody just gave up and said, we'll have to come back and explore. There's no way in the half hour remaining she was going to show anybody around, really. But yeah, it was very good, and of course it meant it was a nice sort of musical week too. The emphasis being on music and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, and the one. The interesting one, she hasn't posted an advanced post about this yet, but I know that this coming Wednesday, it starts off on Kitely at the, I don't know what it's called, Virtual Liverpool or whatever. It's Graham Mills, who's been at many of our conferences demonstrating his a build of Liverpool. I was trying to go and get some film of it, but apparently it's a region that is actually offline or private, so it's only actually being opened especially for the safari. So you can't get into it, normally. So I wasn't able to go in advance to film anything. And the second, I can't remember the second. It's not. It's not Mobius Grid or anything like that, but it's a very cartoony looking place, and it's based on something I was reading. I can't remember what it was, but I don't know where she mentioned it in Discord. I'm not quite sure, but sort of I saw a quick picture of what it is. But it sounds like another interesting one, and this will be an actual arty sort of sciencey tour, this historical mix as opposed to music. So well, I think unless you've got any other comments on that vast array of news, oddly enough we're at an hour 20 minutes, so
where does the time go?
Despite all our problems, we're at it. Do let me know, preferably by Discord. You should be in the Hypergrid Explorers and Creators server at Discord. Is the best way to get me. I am wondering whether they have an in-world screening of some of those talks, just off the record, just streaming it from the desktop in-world, and maybe involving a discussion about them after we've watched them. Just let me know if any of you are interested in an event, something like that. Maybe do one with like those, the Davos World Economic stuff we saw now, but also maybe in future, for sort of some longer form stuff that we would watch and then discuss afterwards, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Just might be an idea. It won't be broadcast. It would. Well, it's not. It's possible the bit after the discussion of our end will be broadcast, but the idea of having a private view is to get around the fact that you're not really allowed to watch them.
Right.
So yeah, let me know about that. If anybody's interested. If I don't hear from anybody, I shall assume it's a really good idea that just did not resonate, rather than a bad idea. If you see what I mean. Okay. Be it XR, AR, VR, MR, whatever, you know that when it comes to all of it, we are indeed. Okay, hope you enjoyed the what news we did have for you this week, folks. Obviously, I don't need to apologise for lack of text just because I'm the only one that's got them. But yeah, we will see you again same time, same place next week. In the meantime, have a good one, stay safe, and everything else. Enjoy it. And if the world is getting to be a problem, whether for you or for the world at large, then you know where to go. There's this place called the M word. Yes. You can go online and jump into a virtual world and escape from everything until somebody goes and nukes the servers. Good night, or good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good tomorrow, depending on wherever and whenever you are. That's my byline from the other shows, isn't it? But why not? Why not treat you to that one too? Yeah. Bye for now.